Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we're going to be painting watercolor anemones. This channel is all about learning how to paint botanicals and flowers. Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we're going to be painting a watercolor anemone. I'm starting off the same way I start off all my botanical paintings, with my three-step painting method, and that is with a wet and wet wash. I've mixed up some different purple color mixes. Some are pinky, some are more purple. There's a few that are a little bit more blue toned, and I'm using different mixes and I'm dropping them into my wet and wet wash. So clean water washed onto the dry paper, and then wait till it has a nice sheen and it's not too puddly, and then I drop in the various colors of purple, magenta, and sort of a periwinkle color, and I let them mix together on the petals for the first wash of my anemone flowers. I'm making sure I leave a lot of the white of the paper shining through on each petal so that you get a nice depth and glow to the flower petals, and I'm washing in some of the color. I'm just dropping it in, and then other parts of it I'm sort of drawing in little lines and veins that then spread out and soften. And it's usually best to wait just a tiny bit before you do the lines, just so the wash is ever so slightly more dry and you'll get the best effect that way. And it's a great idea to practice this on scrap paper first. Now I'm mixing up a darker color for the center of the flowers. I'm using Payne's Gray, Dioxazine Violet, and I believe a little bit of ultramarine blue, and I'm making a nice dark color to put in the centers. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some dry brushing with my smallest size 0 brush to draw on some veins for step 2 of my 3-step botanical painting process. I'm starting on the stems now, and I'm using a mix of a few different greens. Some have a more yellow tone, some are a little bit more blue, and I've mapped those in, and then while I wait for them to dry, I'm going to start adding more definition to the petals with step 3 of my botanical painting process. I'm using the same colors I used on the first wash, wet on dry now, and I'm washing them on and then quickly blending and softening the edges where I want a soft transition. Now I'm adding a little bit more darker color over top of the first dry layer on the centers, and then I'm moving right into adding the leaves. Now these are tiny, delicate leaves on the anemone flower. They're really beautiful and lace-like, but they'd be a lot to paint sort of with the wet wash and the 3 steps. So I'm using more of a one-stroke painting method for the leaves here, and I'm just using the tip and the belly of my brush to drag the paint along and create these beautiful leaves. And I'm making sure that I create some that are darker and then some that use a lighter, faded out concentration of paint that kind of pushes those ones towards the back of the painting. Now I'm starting to add a little bit more darker definition on the stem. So this is again step 3 of the botanical painting method that I use. So wet on dry, a darker, more concentrated color of the same greens I've been using. And again, I paint it on as a much darker color, rinse my brush really quickly, and then blend out one of the edges to soften it. Now I have started to add in some veins with the dry brushing technique with my smallest size 0 brush. I'm just lightly painting on some veins with my tip of my brush very upright. I'm making sure that I don't paint them in on all of the leaves. And then with the same technique and my darker blackish purple, I'm drawing in some of the stamens or filaments on the centers of the flowers. And I'm making the center still a little bit darker, adjusting it as I add on the filaments. And then I go ahead with the darkest mix or concentration of that color and I start painting in the anthers. And I love anemones because you can just paint the centers of the flowers and anthers over top of the flower most of the time because the centers are so dark, so you don't need to use any masking fluid, which is great. Now I'm just going around and adding a little bit more definition with the wet on dry technique on the petals just to make sure there's a lot of contrast and they really come to life off the page. And now I'm just adding my final bits of contrast and detail on the bud and stems. If you would like a color guide on how I create colors for 6 different botanical paintings, then just check out the link in the description below and you can get a free download sent to your email. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for weekly videos. Just hit the bell icon and click all, and then you'll get a notification each time I post a new video. I would love to see you around here on the channel, and feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions about the painting process I used in this video.